I predicted it. Skyward Sword HD for Switch. Let's go. Yeah, so the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword has been announced for the Nintendo Switch coming July 16th. I am very excited for it. So let's talk about it. Yesterday Nintendo had their big direct. The first we've seen one in over a year, which is crazy in terms of a proper direct. And going into it, people had very high expectations. They wanted this and they wanted that. I personally thought that there was a good chance that we were going to get Breath of the Wild 2. We did not, although it was mentioned, and Eiji Aonuma, the Zelda producer, did say, look, we will get more information about the game later in the year. Does that mean that the game will release this year? Probably not, but there is still a chance. They did reveal something else, which is Skyward Sword for Switch. Now there's a few things that I want to talk about. The first one is that I think this is great news. Skyward Sword is a very underappreciated Zelda game. Yes, it has some glaring flaws, but underneath those flaws is an incredibly solid game with some of the best elements in the Zelda series intact. It has some of the best characters, some of the best music in my opinion, and also some incredible dungeons and one of the, if not the best story in the Zelda series. In other words, it is wildly underappreciated if you look at the Wii sales that it got. So I'm very glad that it is getting a second chance. Now this does make complete sense. It's not out of the blue. Ever since 2013, Nintendo has made remakes for their 3D Zelda games a decade after their original games. So Wind Waker in 2013 was a remake of 2003's Wind Waker. Then Twilight Princess HD came out in 2016, which was a remake of course, 2006's Twilight Princess. So it makes complete sense that 2011's Skyward Sword will get a remake this year. It's just inevitable. It was always going to happen. It's just what Nintendo does. And as I said, I think Skyward Sword is quite underappreciated, so it's no bad thing. It is an incredible game and is definitely in my top 10. Now, some people have said that they aren't really feeling that excited about it, not just because of Skyward Sword, because people don't love it, but also because they feel like it doesn't have enough content. Is it just a straight port that they're asking $60 for, or if you're in Australia over here, it's usually about $69. Probably even $80 if they want to push it because it's Zelda. If it is just a straight port with a coat of paint, look, they probably shouldn't be selling it for that much, seeing as they just released Mario 3D World, which is an incredibly polished game that released about, 2014, I'll have to check that, but about 2014, and they remade that game, added some new features, and then added an entire new side story, and still sold it for, here in Australia, $69. Usually games are $80. So that was an incredible package. I haven't bought it yet, but I thought that is great value. If Skyward Sword is just porting the original game over, that's not great. However, they didn't say anything about not adding content. If you look at both Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD, I do think that there will be some new content. Wind Waker added the Swift Sail, and it also got rid of some of the more tedious elements of Wind Waker, like the whole Triforce quest being simplified. Twilight Princess also got simplified and a new combat dungeon was added. For Skyward Sword, look, I don't think they're going to add an entirely new story or anything, but I do think that they will change up the game a bit. They'll probably make the last fifth of the game, which did become really repetitive, they'll probably tighten that up a bit, and they might add a few new features like they did for the Link's Awakening remake. The way it stands right now, we don't know what's going to be added, and it's very likely that something will be added, but it won't be something very large. Don't expect tons of new content. Basically, don't expect a Bowser's Fury situation. Although if it does happen, that would make it totally worth the price. So at the moment, it's a bit up in the air. We don't know yet. I do want to just add in here that some people were criticising Eiji Aonuma's comment on Breath of the Wild 2 is coming along smoothly, and saying, well, if it's coming along smoothly, then where is it? Why aren't you showing it? Coming along smoothly means that what they're doing at the moment is going well. it doesn't mean that it's ready to show, or that it's at a level where they want to present it to us. It means that what they're doing at the moment, there's no massive hiccups, which is a great thing. So I just wanted to add that there just to clarify. Alright, let's continue on with the video. And the other main thing that was announced is, of course, yes, the game uses motion controls. The original Wii version, you had the Wii remote and you had the nunchuck, and you swung the Wii remote in certain ways to use the sword, diagonally, across, up, down, that sort of thing. And you also used the nunchuck as your shield, you just had to thrust it forward. Now, that exact control scheme is being moved over to the Joy-Cons, which is really cool, and they said it is more precise than the Wii. I always found the Wii to be quite good. I found the motion controls quite fun and pretty precise most of the time. And Nintendo says that the Joy-Cons will be even better, which, hey, that for me that means they're going to be pretty much perfect, but we'll have to wait and see. But what they also did, which I was not expecting, is they've allowed you to use button mapping. Now, you can actually flick the right stick onto your right Joy-Con to fling the sword in a certain way. I'm not sure how cumbersome this is going to be, or if it will work really well, but that's the way they're doing it. So you can play Skyward Sword without using the motion controls. We don't know yet if it's a let's go situation, and when you're playing it on the console and the TV, you must use the motion controls, and when you're doing it on the handheld, you have both options. I really hope that you have both options on both setups, or it will be annoying, but it won't really be a deal breaker. So my overall thoughts on this whole Skyward Sword situation is Skyward Sword is a fantastic game. It really is. I've made a video on why Skyward Sword deserves a remake. I'll put that up here right now in the corner. But you should watch that video. I won't go into detail now, but I talk about lots of the great elements of the game and why it deserves a second chance. So I am very excited that we're getting Skyward Sword HD, and I fully support Nintendo in remaking it. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get another Zelda Direct, and we'll get other Zelda 35th anniversary stuff this year. I don't necessarily think that the announcement of Skyward Sword HD means that there won't be a Zelda Direct, although it is more unlikely now. It just, we'll have to see. But without a doubt, for me, Skyward Sword HD being released is a bit of good Zelda content to hold me off until Breath of the Wild 2. I'm very excited, and in terms of the motion control stuff and the extra content and if it's worth the price, at the moment I'm pretty neutral on it, and we'll have to wait for more information to see. But ultimately, Skyward Sword is a terrific game, and I hope that you guys that never actually got to play it originally on the Wii will get to play it now, because it really is worth it. It's a terrific game. It's like Xenoblade Chronicles that then got the definitive edition last year, I believe. It's a terrific game. You should play it. Everyone should play it. You might not love it, but there is a good chance that, like me, you will. Especially if you're a fan of Breath of the Wild. It has a lot of elements that are similar to Breath of the Wild, like the stamina meeting and the collecting and upgrading mechanic. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Subscribe if you want to see more content, like the video, all that good stuff. I really want to hit 500 sooner rather than later, but it can only be done with you guys. My name is Jasper. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.